New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. As we normally do here, I have to, roll through the comment section and showcase a lot of the ridiculousness, right, that just so happens to show up, and to also showcase to the crowd what specifically it is that I'm talking about. Because whenever I happen to do videos critiquing or talking about things that transpire to Black women or a woman, right, or young girls in the community, I happen to always hear the mouths of those who want to roll up and be like, "Oh, but what about what Black men are doing? What are Black men doing to protect and all?" Right? It's always the deflecting. It's always to put the blame directly on Black men and to try to say that Black men are the oppressors. We're the ones keeping Black women down. We are the ones, doing all of these things, right? And especially keeping Black women back from, earning money, from being able to progress in life, from being able to be entrepreneurs and business women, and all these other things, right? So for me to actually showcase this, what we're going to do here is that we're going to go through all of the comments that this one person has at least made on quite a few videos, and them deciding that they want to specifically point and aim the finger at Black men. Shout out to the Shaw brothers, and this is what Shaw had to say, right? This is the reason why Black Americans must create their own Waffle House restaurant to support Black communities and the Black dollar, right? He's talking in general when it comes to what took place, which this story dealt with two Black women who are married in a relationship, and they went to a Waffle House and they were discriminated against, right? And the Shaw brothers like, this is why we as a Black community, we need to just create our own everything, right? A generalized statement covering everybody, right? Not excluding anybody, but covering everybody, right? Mary decides to state, "I knew this day was coming, but the men get mad when you tell them to build their own facilities." What does that have to do with what specifically took place in this story when it deals with two Black women? You know how many Black women are opening up their own businesses? They have their own shops and different things like that. Like I stated before, for you to try to deflect, Mary, and want to put the blame or try to put the weight on Black men as if that's going to alleviate the whole thing, that's stupid. Because at the end of the day, if a Black man decides to build that business, that's great. That's only in that community. That's only in that city, that town, and that state. So does that mean that every Black woman around the United States is just going to come solely and travel to another state just to patronize that business? No, no. So that means, like the Shaw brothers stated, the Black community, Black Americans need to get together, pitch in, and open up their own businesses, open up their own shops. Like I said before, this is what happens when people feel that you are coming at Black women, when you are trying to critique them, and when you are, I guess, trying to challenge them or different things like that. You'll have a person like this roll up and start trying to deflect and move the conversation into a realm where they feel that they have the leverage and a leg to basically stand on. Here we go again. So we got Giggles that started off the topic, stated that, "When will Black people learn?" Yet again, talking in general. "Why go where you are not wanted, respect, or appreciated, then complain when treated as such?" Almighty said, "Amen." Gail said she agrees with the claps. Bob Jones then wrote, right? "They don't realize that they are being discriminated against until the white customers arrive and they were deep into their purchase. I agree, though. They should have asked for a refund and to speak to a manager for documentation purposes." Mary then responds saying, "The only thing that the men need to do is finally unite, plan, and build their own facilities." Yet again, this is a story specifically pertaining to women. What do Black men have to do with this? That's all I'm saying. What do Black men have to do about this? Nothing. Nothing at all. Because as I stated before, there's tons of Black women who saw a niche, who saw an area which they could just slide into and create their own business. So for you to yet again understand and know what the problem is, and then you're talking about, well, yo, black men need to start, yo, you know how much amounts of money black women have that they can sit up there and spend on an everyday basis? Like I said, just think about that. Think about all of the thousands of dollars that black women can literally spend on an everyday basis when it comes to just beautifying themselves, when it comes to makeup, when it comes to eyelashes, when it comes to nails, when it comes to hair, when it comes to dresses, when it comes to different types of bras and lingerie and shoes and all of that. Like I said, the deflecting that I see in a lot of these underneath a lot of these videos that I do is pretty crazy. As I stated before, at any moment in time as a man, if we happen to see an issue, we'll go out there and devise and figure out a plan to sit up there and fix whatever the problem is that we see directly in front of us. And me believing in equality, right? And believing that, you know, women are able to do a lot of things, you know, and they can easily multitask and create things for themselves without relying, right, directly on a man to just sit up there and like ID the situation and then work on it. I automatically feel that if I'm able to do that as a man, then a woman, a black woman, should also be able to do the exact same things, because there are situations that men can obviously deal with and other situations that specifically women can sit up there and deal with. So, you know, like I said, that's the way I go about life. That is 100% the way that I go about life. If I'm able to sit up there and pretty much do something, depending on what the task is, I also feel that, you know, the other half, which is a black woman, is more than capable, and more than you know, strong enough in order to mentally ID a problem, see a problem, come up with a some type of blueprint, and to figure out how to enact that plan in order to fix that situation or to get over that obstacle. And next, underneath this video, she wanted to state that why are black men still talking about these incidences as opposed to building their own facilities? It is beginning to not make any sense. Mo, of course, replied, LOL, your insightful analysis is tremendously thought-provoking. As it is, Mo, as it is, because he already realizes what the whole thing is. It's blame the black man. It's obviously it's a black man's fault, right? Basically saying that if black men created Waffle Houses in a black area, that therefore these black women would not have to go through this, right? So basically saying, even though, right, Mary is an independent woman, she's doing everything on her own and all these other things, right? She's still saying that she relies and needs a black man to do things for her, which she should be more than capable and able to actually do for herself. Like I said, that's crazy. Like I said, that's 100% crazy for me. Never in a time am I ever going to be in a relationship with a black woman and automatically know the fact that I can't cook, but I'm going to rely on a black woman to always cook for me. Excuse me? How do I look? How do I look? We ain't doing that. Like I said, if I need some food, guess what? I'll order some food. I'll cook some food. Go out there and whatever it is. I'll sit up there. If I'm hungry, I'm going to sit up there and make it myself. If that black woman wants to sit up there and make something for me, yo, that's dope. That's awesome. Thank you. Much appreciated. But like I said, at the end of the day, with or without, I'll be able to sit up there and make that food myself. Like I said, I know how to fix the problem if one comes up. But to sit up here and try to yet again blame black men and deflect away from the fact that you have true Americans who are running this establishment, who are working in this establishment, and they're the ones that specifically did this to these black women, that's crazy. You got all of this smoke, you got all of this energy for black men, but you don't got none of that for people who don't look like you. Like I said, it's craziness. Now, notice this topic here, right? This is exactly the image that I put up that you can find directly on the channel. It said, black women, why so much hate? Why treat another black woman in this manner? Why not love and support each other, right? Those are, you know, just some questions directly out there. And the video was more so to look at and also bring up the the whole question, and to also showcase what it is that is going on, right? I've had a variety of people in the comment section saying that they don't support Cheryl Underwood for a variety of reasons, and oh, she should not have brought this to an all-white platform and involved white people directly in it, and all of these other things, right? Same things I hear all the time from people, but yet you air all of your business and your family business on IG. You air it out on Twitter. You air it out on YouTube. You air it out on Facebook. You air it out on WhatsApp. You air it out on Snapchat. Like, you use all of these platforms, which are not black platforms, and you literally talk about your lives, your woes, your family situations, your relationships, but then you got the nerve to turn around and talk about Cheryl Underwood and her bringing up this topic about black women into mainstream. Make it make sense, right? But yet again, we're going to see and bring up black men, and still, even within this topic subject, still try to find a way to blame black men. Steve stated, but the sisterhood with the clown emojis. Then Moni Rachel, right? Whole other woman, stated that women being jealous and catty towards one another is not exclusively just black women. But see, this is the problem. Like I stated before, you're deflecting. We're specifically talking about something that happened to a black woman, and she is expressing what other black women basically did and said about her. Then on top of that, to further what I was talking about, I even listed from my own experiences, right? Growing up in a household, all women, and I was able to see these things transpire. Took it to a further step, and I was talking about the different things that I was able to witness within my own community by black women to other black women, right within proximity. And then also took that to another basis, dealing with jobs that I've worked at, and then also talking about schools that I went to. But like I said before, whenever it comes to somebody just wanting to put the blame on somebody, and more specifically on a black man, they will literally find any type of route and way to specifically blame and to also deflect, right, from the topic, and want to try to add everybody else in there, which she did, right? So she directly said that, oh, it's not just black women that did it. We're not talking about anybody else. We're literally not talking about anybody else. We are solely talking about what a black woman experienced and what other black women specifically did to her, right? Southern Lady Brown stated, black women are supreme with jealous. It's sickening. Cheryl is too top notch. Or I guess that was supposed to say Cheryl is too, yeah, top notch in the comedy world. I pray that she stays strong and doesn't get bitter. Much love, right? Moni stated that black women being jealous of one another is certainly not exclusive to just black women. All races of women do that. And Southern Lady Brown responded, you are correct. However, the title is about black women. Moni responded, yeah, but is this news? As if somehow this is something new. Like I said before, all of that is basically deflection, right? Yet again, it was like, oh, but this is about, the topic has to do specifically with black women. This is a black woman with a platform that was, relaying her story, her experience to somebody else. But yet her experience is in a sense coming into question, and people want to say that, oh, but it's not only black women. Why are we only focused on black women, right? Trying to basically say that by solely focusing on black women is enabling other people to negatively critique, or to open the door to allow and to negatively critique black women, right? But I would counter that by saying that if you look at a lot of these reality shows where black women are, the headliners, rap wives, reality wives, whatever it is, right? All of those shows, which solely have to do with black women, why is it that you're not stating that they're opening the door for a negative critique, or for a negative, in a sense, look at black women? Those black women on those reality shows do not equal up to the whole of black women. But when that reality show is put out there by way of the media, and you have black women that entertain this type of nonsensical nonsense every single day, season after season, day after day, article after article, but then, like I said before, don't say or do anything in order to get those shows shut down. They don't do anything to try to put a positive portrayal of a black woman directly out there. All they do is put out the ghetto, the ratchet, the hood type of culture, right, that people are used to seeing on social media when it comes to black women. So, like I said before, it's funny how you want to throw everybody else in there, but you don't have every other group of women doing the same things that you see black women doing on social media and on a lot of these television shows. Like I said, you can't sit up there and blame a black man for that. You can't sit up there and try to, deflect and try to point it, somewhere else, because I promise you, you're not going to find Japanese women doing this. Reality Japanese, like you don't really have that, right? You don't really got that. All right, excuse me for any mess ups because I had to actually blow this up on my end because it's not really clear. So, Brother Reigns stated that this goes back to something I've heard black women state when they were girls, and them saying that they couldn't hang out with other girls because of how catty they can be. Mine stated, I have a very small female circle, and I think that should be like, but literally can be, yeah, we can be the worst towards one another. Ronnie stated, catty until palm color comes into the room. Miss Cardio said, yep, even on YT. I am Maddie. This is another individual that you'll see here as well. She stated that whenever you hear a girl or a woman claim that they can't be friends or hang out with other girls or women, they are the problem, right? And then later on, you have Mary that basically states that this is hilarious how men are talking about female behavior yet are dead silent about the daily gun violence, disrespectful rap music, no grocery stores in the inner cities, and etc. Aren't these things more important? Brown Skin Beauty, another person, stated, I was thinking the same thing, honestly. We have no proof of what she said is true anyways, and she isn't so innocent herself. So even within this, right, you have Mai, who stated that, yo, I have a small female circle because of this very reason, right? But then you have three other women that show up, and you basically have one, Maddie, she states that whenever a woman states this, that basically means that she is the problem. No, 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 no. No, that doesn't mean that she's the problem. That just means that she is on like her own type of road. Like you might have some women out here that are just completely level-headed. They're not for like the nonsense. They're not for the gossip. They're not for that bickering. They're not for that he say, she say type of lifestyle. Or they might not be for like the drinking and the smoking and stuff. And people will feel that that woman is like a snob because they envision her like, oh, you think that you're better because you don't want to take part in all this other stuff and yada yada yada. No, she's not the problem. It's everybody else who has an issue with the way that she wants to sit up there and run with her life. Like I said before, you got a lot of business-minded black women out here. Those business-minded black women cannot hang out with the ghetto, the ratchet, the gossiping, and all that other because they not really about nothing. Like I'm just gonna be all honest. A lot of those women ain't really about that life of trying to be an entrepreneur, trying to really start up a business, trying to make $1 million to like $10 million, trying to start a legacy. Like they're just doing something just to do it, just to say that they're doing it. They're not really focused on it. They're not really trying to like build it into like something way more, right? And then we go directly back to what Mary stated. She stated that this is hilarious how men are talking. Okay, so I'm a man with a platform and I highlight the things that take place within the black community. So that could be black kids, black teenagers, black men, elders, and especially black women. So you're saying that I should only be focused on, I as a black man who is interested in black women, right? I should only talk about issues specifically pertaining to black men and those problems that quote unquote only black men do. That's basically what she's stating. Because that's why she said the daily gun violence, even though I brought up a story about a black woman taking the life of another black woman, right? And then she said the disrespectful rap music, even though I've done videos also talking about both the disrespect in the music by way of black men towards black women, on top of the brainwashing that also takes place when it deals with young black men, young black boys listening to rap music, on top of the fact that you have black women out there doing the exact same thing in the reverse and delivering this to not only black women of their age range, but young black women and young black girls, brainwashing them and conditioning them to think that the only way that they can basically get by in life, that they can get the things that they want or the man that they want, is to specifically show off their body as the number one asset. Not talking about your heart, not talking about your mind, not talking about something that you're physically, building, right? And this is what the female rap artists do. But like I said, Mary doesn't want to talk about that though. She don't got no smoke for that, right? And then she further wants to go into the whole main thing of like, oh, well, black men aren't, building up these businesses. What about the grocery stores in the inner cities? Aren't those things more important, right? If you really feel that that is an asset that needs to be done, so why don't you take yourself to task on that? Why don't you gather up a field of black women who are about that life, who are about the entrepreneurship, who are about being independent, who have, money saved up, and all of y'all like-minded black women get together and y'all start up the first black female grocery store in that community. Why don't you do that? But like I said, you don't want to. You want to sit up there and put all of that weight on black men. You want to basically blame black men like, oh, the reason that we don't have, grocery stores, in the neighborhood, which has nothing to do with the conversation, is because black men. How does that even make sense? You know how much money black women literally spend at beauty supply stores? Let me help you out. Over hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, if you take that hundreds of millions of dollars that black women are solely giving to the Asian community, you take that back and then you start to hold that, you put that into a bank account, and then you come up with a plan and go to a bank to either get a loan or you put that money together with other black women. Just think about how many businesses black women can actually open up within the community, and they'll be black owned. The money will circulate through the community. And not only is it a positive thing for the community, but it's a positive thing for you. It's a positive thing for the elder black women who have always wanted to see certain things like that. It's a positive thing for the younger black women who are before them. And it's even more positive for the younger black girls growing up because they get to see and grow up and look at positive images of black women. Like, yo, this woman down the street, she opened up her own, grocery store, beauty supply, beauty salon, nail shop, toy store, whatever it is, right? And it's black owned, and a black woman is the head of it, and she owns it, right? Like I said, that's a powerful statement within itself. But yet again, Mary doesn't have the smoke for any of that. She's not about that life, right? So then you got brown skin beauty who basically stated, I was thinking the same thing. Really? All right. So if you're thinking the same thing, why don't you and Mary get together and you start building up different things in the community? Right. And then she went into the whole thing to try to deflect, well, oh, Cheryl has no proof of the conversation or anything that was basically stated. Okay. Yet again, you got black women going against another black woman and her experiences by basically stating that, oh, she's stating that it happened, but we don't really have any proof. So if a black woman stated that somebody in her family did something to her, because you didn't see it, because you don't know that family member, does that mean that her experience is that less important? Like, is that really what we're doing? Is that where we're going? Because that happened to a lot of women and young girls who are victims all the time, where people are like, well, you don't really have any proof, so how do we know that what you said happened really happened? Like I said, this is why you don't have a lot of women coming out and speaking when things transpire to them, like when they're young girls or women. But yet you got women in the comment section doing this. But I guess that's the black man's fault too, right? All right, so Mary stated again, talk to men about what they're doing to each other on a daily basis. They are in no moral position to judge what women are saying. Yet again, that has nothing to do with nothing. If I, as a black man, am seeking, right, a black woman relationship, and all that good stuff, right? I have the right to basically critique because I'm looking for a black woman. So obviously I'm going to look for a specific type of black woman. I'm not going to look for, oh, I'm just going to go for like a general type of black woman, right? One that's like loud, ghetto, all that other shit, right? All of the stereotypical things that are basically pushed out there about black women. No, I'm going to look for the things that are not being portrayed, the positive things that are not being showcased and portrayed and put out there to the world. Like that sounds completely stupid. You know how many black women have platforms where they just specifically talk about black men? Why don't you bring that same energy to them? Oh, guess what? You're not going to do it because that's their whole platform. Good luck on that. Why don't you bring that same issue to black women on Twitter, the divesting group, where they always want to talk negatively about black men, but they want to up Asian men and white men? Oh, you're not going to do that because that's their whole platform, right? Why don't you do that on IG? Guess what? You're not going to sit up there and have that smoke for them as well. So like I said, maybe if you really have an issue with that, you should be the one to, jump off that cliff and create like a platform. Why don't you do like the rest of the black women do out here who have an issue, who hate black men, who are a part of that divesting group? Why don't you sit up there and do the same exact things that they're doing? Because obviously you're coming to a black man's platform and you're stating your opinion about a black man when, as going by your words, you should mind your own business and focus on what it is that you as a black woman should be focused on and or doing. Because more than likely, I don't really think that you're holding on to like $10 million, that you're just like this uber entrepreneur, independent, just doing your own thing. Because if you really were, you would not be hanging out on a random black guy's YouTube channel and repeatedly making comments specifically talking about black men in a negative light, and then on top of that trying to blame them for X, Y, and Z, right? And then on top of that, because you want to be stupid, you said talk to black men about what they're doing. I do that on an everyday basis. I've done that on quite a few videos. This is where it comes into you being an adult and actually doing some research and looking on this platform and the other platform that has 2,000 plus videos. Like I said, take your time. I know you're not, but like I said before, if you actually did your research before talking stupid, you wouldn't have wrote exactly what you wrote. But 9 times out of 10, you still would have said some stupid anyway. So there we go. All right, so Brian Jackson stated, I've been on the inside of the Black BBW Empowerment Group, a bunch of 20-something year olds who wanted to go out and matching jackets and party. All they did was talk about other overweight women in the group like they were dogs. I was privy to the communications between them because I was the designated driver and most of them were my friends. I told them that it was not cool to talk about another member being overweight because she was the heaviest of them all. It was just a bunch of jealous, catty, vicious bees. It was a sad situation to witness, and of course, the group didn't last long. Yet again, Moni stated, women being catty and jealous isn't exclusive to just black women. Then Mary came in. Women talking about each other and men shooting each other are two completely different things. The men focus on everything except what they need to focus on. Yet again, yeah, the black man that is telling you that he was there, that he was able to witness this, but they don't really care about that. So they want to focus on, hey, it's not just black women doing this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I, as a black man, don't care what other women are sitting up there doing. Because let's just be honest here. If I, as a black man, really started talking about the issues of every other woman and really started championing for them, people would really start looking at me sideways. People would sit up there and say like, "Oh, Seiji is in the white girls. He only dates white women and all this other stuff, right?" And they would really start to say that, "Oh, it's a shame that you as a black man don't want to focus on black women and their issues and what they have to go through, and you want to champion and speak for other women when they wouldn't even sit up and do this." It would be that whole thing, right? So it's in a sense a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. And then yet again you got Mary, and she, oh man, women talking about each other and men shooting each other, two completely different things. But yet this is the same person that was bringing up what men do to other men, and specifically stating that I, as a black man, and other black men need to be specifically focused on those topics, along with opening up businesses and grocery stores and all that other stuff, right? This, you want to state that men focus on everything except what they need to focus on. You are literally focused on and deflecting on all the stuff that you shouldn't even be focused on. Like, why are you bringing up topics dealing with crime within proximity? Like, is that something that actually affected your life? Did you lose somebody to that? If that is the case, then you need to champion for that, and you need to carry the torch to always remind people that, yo, this is something that's detrimental, that's taking place in the community, so on and so on and so on. Like I said before, I, as a black man, I'm going to be pointing out and critiquing these things because at the end of the day, looking at black women, interested in black women, relationship with black women, and like I said, I'm specifically choosing certain things that I like, and I'm dismissing the other things that I don't like. So I have the full 100% right to basically critique any and everything that is basically transpiring here. Like I said, if you got an issue with that, then do like some of the other black women have done and create a platform specifically talking about black men. Or better get, make a platform where you can have a space where you can solely talk about the issues specifically pertaining to black women. But chances are, looking at your name and your subscribers, you're not going to do that. It's too much work for you. All right, so we got Ronnie that stated, well, All the praising Jesus and catching the Holy Ghost didn't help anyone become more moral. I ask, who are these ladies, teachers, and religious culture that allows skullduggery? Mary, yet again, decided to respond. Who are the men teachers who are saying absolutely nothing about the gun violence from the males? Isn't that more serious? Like I said before, this is all the types of deflection and ridiculousness that specifically come about when it just so happens that black men want to focus in on what it is that is taking place amongst black women, something that should be critiqued, that should be talked about, that it should be a topic of conversation. Because as I stated before, if I go anywhere on social media, I can always see, a grouping of black women deciding that, oh, let's start talking about black men and the things that they're not doing and all this other stuff, versus focusing on the black men who are actually doing the things that they want black men to do, right? But like I said before, that's not a conversation that really actually takes place. There's not really any black women platforms where they are positively speaking about black men and what it is that black men are doing, what it is that black men in their lives have done, have accomplished, and how they're working with the community and trying to help the community, and and different things like that, like I said. But yeah, Christopher Ross stated, tag team hating on a sister. Darn. Mary stated, you men making it a big deal about women gossiping, yet say absolutely nothing about gun violence. Like I said before, this is when it comes into the huge amount of deflection, time, and energy that you were able to see her, roughly the greater duration of the video, come through on different posts, and she just wanted to go directly after black men. Whenever a black man was speaking, or even myself, she had all of this mouth to say all of these things, right? As if she actually 100% cares. Because if she did, she would actually do something about it instead of sitting back on the sidelines. And yeah, like I said before, I'm pretty sure that you have some men in your family that have some skeletons directly in their closet, that have more than likely caused some type of harm and or trauma to a black woman, but yet you don't want to sit up there and go into that. Chances are you know of some black women who have caused some hurt and some trauma to friends, that or maybe coworkers that but yet you don't want to say anything about that, nor do you want to touch on the fact that not only have those men caused hurt and trauma to women that but those same men are being harbored, housed, and protected and sheltered by women. So no matter how much you realistically, right, you want to start to try to put some blame directly on, black men to make it seem like we are the problem, right? You know what? I'm an even type of guy. Fine. But we'll take half of that. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say we. I'm going to say I will take half of that, right? Might not have had anything to do with any of the stuff that you're talking about, but right. But I'll sit up there and shoulder and take that responsibility. And because I decided to shoulder and take that responsibility, I'm being proactive by on my platform talking about a lot of these issues during live streams, which I know you don't watch, other videos, which I know you don't watch, and also having conversations with other black men that I do know outside of this platform, which I know, those are men that you don't even associate with, nor would you even pay attention to in real life. So, like I said before, it's amazing how I actually do my part and that's actually visible. But yet you're sitting up here complaining and you're not doing anything at all, but yet complaining, as we can clearly see, in this video. And as I stated before, if you really felt that gun violence was so much of a problem by way and proximity by black men, then you would actually be proactive in dealing with that. There are a lot of black women who have lost sons, and they are proactive when it comes to dealing with gun violence and starting groups and educating, black people about the things that are taking place, including the loss of life and the harm that gun violence can cause in the black community. But as I stated before, that's the difference between those women and you. Those women are actually about something, doing something, changing something, making actions happen, while you are just here sitting on the sidelines on YouTube, just making comments by way of your cell phone. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. As always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.